Good morning everyone, this is Anna from Lexivy Journals. I hope you're all keeping well and safe from this virus. And well, to start with, I just wanted to say a couple of little things. We're all in the family at home at the moment. We have all decided to stay at home. Paul and I work from home anyway, and our daughter has stopped going to college. So as of the weekend, before the weekend, we have decided to lay low and have a low profile and protect ourselves and protect our surroundings, other people around us as well, who are older and even more vulnerable. But obviously older people are more. So I think, what we did, and maybe it would things from what I will tell you today will contribute to your decisions and how you're doing things. I'm obviously we're going out for shopping, and usually it's me who goes out for shopping, and I wear my gloves, my crafting gloves, my the one-use gloves, which I had beforehand. I had a few, and I keep them in the car so I don't have to throw them out every time. And I also keep some wipes in the car, so I basically make sure that when I leave the house, I don't bring anything back in with me. Well, the other thing is, we were thinking, we organized ourselves so everybody has got their own space in the house, and we're all sharing. Our son has to share a computer with my husband because his laptop is not adaptable. Is not very obviously, it's not the same as if he had his work laptop here, his work computer. And we're all trying to not to get into each other's nerves. So it has worked out well up to now. I'm fairly optimistic because I'm optimistic by nature. I try not to be too worried or upset. It's going to be sad that a few of us will miss seeing family and elderly relatives. I have my parents in Greece and I won't be able to visit them for a while. That makes me feel really sad, but at the same time, my brother who is there cannot see them either. So everybody has to isolate each other from each other for a while. But thankfully, I'm going to be a Pollyanna now, and I'm going to say thankfully we've got the internet still going, and this is what is going to keep us close to each other, and we can communicate, and we can still send our affection and our friendship to people. I communicated with a friend of mine who lives on his own last night, and we agreed that we're going to be talking often, and of course he's got lots of friends as well, but we keep company to people who we know are a little bit more isolated than we are. So, and also the last thing is obviously for us who craft and for us who are creative and we do journaling, just, we've got plenty of time to do all that. I know a lot of us are working from home, and a few of you've got a home office, so you will have a little bit more time since you won't be commuting to do a little bit more journaling, and that is a positive thing. And the other positive thing is we're in our home and we can actually start tidying up and organizing things a bit more. So I've decided on free time, which I actually prefer not to have because I always like doing the work with the books and the journals that I make. But for the free time, I thought I could always tidy up the house and clear out all the clothes that I don't need and any the others don't need, and so maybe put some plans to organize things, and that'll keep your mind away from the fact that you're not out there doing things that you would love. We had a theatre booked for this Wednesday for tomorrow, and we were not going to go, but then we found out that it has been cancelled. So we're going to miss all that for a while, but we have to keep cheerful and just think Pollyanna at the moment. Things could have been worse. At least they are trying to help with a vaccination, and hopefully in a few months, and I cannot predict of course, and I'm not also a medical doctor, so I can't tell you anything else. But all I can say from what I hear is that there will be eventually a solution to this terrible problem that is there around. So keep cheerful and keep happy, because our mental health is equal to our physical health. And if we don't have our mental health and we start getting depressed, then we've lost half the battle. So we have to keep ourselves cheerful and keep our friends and relatives and family cheerful, and each other. So I will be doing a few videos, and if you want to watch, you can watch. But I thought I'd be doing a few videos and saying hello to everyone a little bit more often, even if they don't have to do with books. So I thought today we can talk a little bit about paper, and then I will also show you the spine, because I promised I was going to show you how I decorate my spines on my medieval style journals. So let me start with Lotka, the Lotka paper. So Lotka paper, I'm just going to have to read a few things because I'm not very good at memorizing everything, and I have some kind of sequence on what I've written. So the Lotka paper is a fibrous inner bark of high elevation evergreen shrubs, and it is basically made out of two things. Two different types. They're both called the Daphne or laurel. Daphne is a Greek name for laurel, and what we use for bay leaf as well. So one of the types. And there are two types of that Daphne bush. It's the Bula and the Papyracea. So already we have two different types of Lotka. Now the Lotka bushes grow on a high level up in the mountains, 1,600 and 4,000 meters above sea level, and they are finished. Although they are produced in many different parts, they're actually finished in Kathmandu and Janakpur. Forgive me if I pronounce the words differently, because some of these words I've only known pronouncing them in Greek or in all sorts of different ways, so you'll understand. So the reason why we like Lotka paper is because they have a great resistance to humidity and insects and tearing. So that's why originally they were used for official purposes, for official documents, and also for prayer documents and other sacred texts that it's like the way the Egyptians used papyrus paper, which we'll talk about another time. So basically they're about 1,000 to 1,900 years old, 12th century, and the first one documented was a document called Karania Boa Sutra, and that was a sacred text that was found in Kathmandu in the National Archives. So apart from the traditional paper makers and the block printers and which make the designs on them, the Lotka paper relies a lot on the actual manual workers that work up there in the mountains, and the process is very, very natural. So it's quite interesting where it comes from. So when we have Lotka paper, we have to treat it with respect, like we do with all our paper. And I personally, when I see Lotka paper, I feel like, oh goodness, this has been handmade by somebody, and the stamps on it are hand block printed, and I do have that feeling about and respect for the Lotka paper. So it's very precious, and who knows if we'll have it forever. So respect it, and when you can buy some and keep it for your journaling, and understand that it comes from, it's something that might become a little bit rarer in time. So 12th century Nepal, where it was used mostly in the beginning, it was used for writing epic tales. How wonderful. They printed matra and prayer wheels, the religious texts that were used for chanting by the British monks. So this is a basic introduction to the Lotka paper. I will show you some Lotka papers I've got here. I have quite a few, but I will show you a few sort of characteristic ones, and then you'll see what I mean. Now, one thing that is very characteristic of Lotka paper is the fact that it really feels like you can't tear it, especially a few of them, certain ones. And also they've got these beautiful edges. And I always, when I use them on my journals, I always try to leave the edges there, because I love the feeling that you've got that natural part there. So this is a Lotka paper, and I found it recently, this color, because I used to have a green. I could find a greeny olive one, but this one is more recent, and I think it's beautiful because it has all these shades of green on it, as you can see. And let me just hold it like that as well. I think you can see, you've seen it well. And then there's this, which I use a lot, and I always keep in stock, because I really like using this one as well as the first page, the first, in the journal, because it's so thin and fine. I'll show you, this one tears easier. This one tears easier because it's so fine. And it's made with all sorts of little bits inside, so it's been like cooked almost in a big cauldron somehow. I don't know. I'll look into that one. And this one is called Mountain Paper Lotka. So they come in different thicknesses, and this one is 30 GSM thickness. So this is a thinner one. And then I've got this one, which has got the stamping on, the printing. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? It's gold. And again, you see the edges there. So this is another type of Lotka paper. There's also this, which has got an olive green color, and it says here it's cyanotype leaves, olive green, and it's almost like there's an imprint on them. And you see it on this side, and you can also see it on this side as well. You can use it from this side. So it's got this beautiful imprint, and when you're touching this, it feels like it's a material. It feels like fabric. It doesn't feel like paper. It's so flexible. It doesn't bend. Although I always keep the papers flat, but it doesn't bend too much. So this is just a general, just like a few of them, because gosh, there are so many Lotka papers, so many different types, and I've used so many. All these I've been using for the last few years that I've been making journals, different types of Lotka papers. But this one is, these ones are the ones that I've got at the moment in stock, and I think I've got a couple more. Different types. No, I've got a few more. And all these, I don't know if you remember me using the ones with the little gold, little gold trees, and these are Lotka papers. They're Lotka papers as well. Now, writing on them, it varies, and some of them you can write on, and others obviously you can't. So for example, this one, pointless. How can you write on? You can stick, but gluing things on, it's a little bit harder, because it's got this natural resistance to glue this. So if you are trying to glue something, maybe a glue that you use on paper will work better. I try not to glue too much. Sometimes I put the book plates on, and I do need a strong glue for that, because they don't like glue. They don't like glue. So, because it's a natural fabric, natural fabric, it doesn't, there's some things, the natural nature doesn't like certain things. It's just the way it is. So this is what I have to say about Lotka paper, and I hope you enjoyed this little introduction to this paper. I do encourage you to use Lotka paper and to respect it, because it is a beautiful thing to have and to appreciate. So this is all I had to say about Lotka paper, and of course I could again go on for a long time, but I think I gave you an idea of what it is and where it comes from. Next time I will be talking to you about marble paper. I'll gather some information for you, and I will explain to you the different types and where it comes from. So of course there are people who actually make marble paper, and I have a huge respect for anybody who trials and who successfully makes marble paper, or even unsuccessfully. I haven't had a go yet, and I'm planning on doing a marble paper course soon. So I'm going to switch the camera now, and I'll show you how I do my spines. I have prepared a spine here. I have covered it, but I will explain to you the details of how that was done, and then we will just decorate it. It's not going to be a very long process because it's really quite simple, but you'll see the mentality behind it, what I think when I'm making it, and how I try to let's say make it look right with the rest, to combine with the rest of the book. So I'm going to show you, and I'm just going to say, so keep happy, and if you have any thoughts about anything and you want to express them, it's probably going to be nice to have a collection of thoughts of people under this video. And I'm going to put them all together, collect them all and put them all together, and do something with these quotes or thoughts everybody has. I'm thinking of doing a project of all these thoughts collected together. So we'll see what that's going to be. So if you would like to contribute, I will handwrite them all on a page or a few pages or whatever else, and we'll think of something. In the meantime, we will be seeing each other on Friday to continue with decorating our ledger book. And I have another one on the way. I have somebody very sweet guy who, the one I got the ledger book from in the antiques market, and he now sends me pictures of different ledger books and papers and things. So I'm going to concentrate on a few ledger books, and we can make some projects with those. And then I also have a couple of books on the way. So sometime this week you'll see the books, and also it will be the Graphics Fairy journal that I am preparing for the first Graphics Fairy project. So have a lovely rest of your day, and let's look at the spine now. Okay, so here I have a prepared spine, and I just wanted to say about the spine. I have the spine that is connected to the rest of the journal, the block that I'm going to be using, and for the spine, the ridges, I have tried different things, but I find what agrees with my kind of style is this. Butcher's twine is this type of butcher's twine. I mean, not necessarily the same one, but this kind of thickness, sometimes a little bit thicker, it doesn't matter. Butcher's twine is, I cut 2 or 3. I put them here I space them onto the spine under the cloth, and then I glue them on, like I will have 2 of them or 3 of them, and I space them out into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 usually. This one I've left a longer space here, distance, because I want to put an image. Sometimes I don't use images. Instead, I will put these decorated ribbons. So I would have these, and they're you've seen my journals with these. So what I do is I measure them before I space them, and then I put them in on the ridges, in between the ridges. So I make sure that the spaces are right, obviously, in between them. And I have a few of these ribbons in different colors. I can use the ones that I like on the different journals, the ones with the different images, the colors and all that. So when it comes to the ridges, I have this, which I have tried a lot of different things, and this one is a favorite, because although the wax that I use, and I'll show you the wax as well, is the gilding wax, this one. I mean, obviously there are lots of them, but this is the one I usually get because I find it easier. I also use this, which is my favorite, my very favorite. And the thing with this is it needs a little bit time to set. So I will paint it onto the cover, and then I will leave it alone on the spine. And I will get back to it once it has dried completely. And once it has dried completely, I spray it over with a non-toxic spray, acrylic spray, and then it's perfect. Nothing happens. It doesn't come off, or it doesn't. But because it's made out of little, tiny little particles, it definitely needs to set. And then you wash your hands basically when you use it. So let me show you how this works. And the reason why I prefer it, I'm just going to stress that, the reason why I prefer it to gilding wax, is because it's a lot more, it's a lot more gold. You see, this is what it looks like once it's painted. And I do it on the ridges. On the ridges, and then of course because it's the twine, you can see the twine underneath a little bit. You just see the texture of the spine, and this is what I like about making these spines. It's the texture of the twine, because it's so much like an old book. And I think in old books, looking at images and having seen old books, they used this kind of thing. They used ropes or twines, thin ropes or twines or whatever else. So this is how I do mine. Sometimes I do the gilding wax, depending on how bright I like the gold. But having the bright doesn't make it look in any way cheap or tacky, because it's such a beautiful, beautiful gold. So, I mean, obviously the brand doesn't matter, but I just showed you the one I've got. Again, I'm not advertising for anybody on these. But this is, I'm just showing you what I'm using, what my tools of the trade are. The same brush you use, you probably will reuse. It doesn't lose its softness, but it will be gold. It won't change. It won't go away. And water, not too much water, because it just needs a little bit of water to just get it to this texture. Okay, I'm not worried about bits and pieces going around. Doesn't matter. I mean, a little bit of gold here and there, it won't make a difference. Because even in the real books, people would allow that to happen, so I wouldn't worry about it. And because the material will soak in, you just go through it a few times over it. There you are. And one more time for the top one. And it's done. And then I'll fold it through. I usually do this once it's all done. One of the book is all made and finished, and I finish off the spine. That will be the last thing I do, but today I'm just gonna do it this way, and then I'll wait a little while until it dries. Then I'll do the acrylic spray and continue working on the book. Now, this is good for painting it over, and you can also paint it on the side a bit to give it this gold here. Too much, but whenever that happens, I'll tell you what I do. It's going to be soaked in anyway, and then I'll go over it with a darker, I'm going to age it a bit, so there, that'll age it. Bit of distress ink. I'm using this one because I've always used it, so I'm used to it, and I know how to handle it, and I'm happy with it. So when you're happy with something, there's no point in looking for other things. If you want to create like angles here and make it look like it's got a bit of time and age, you can create this here, you see, and well, from there on you need to think how you want to decorate the rest of this, like on top of it. You want to leave it alone, or you want to put ribbon, which you can find on Etsy, I think, or other places. I get mine from Greece. And you can also add images, which you glue very well. And a lot of the time what I do is I frame them with this. I glue it around them, and then I will paint it with this gold, and it looks like it's part of the whole image, the whole picture of it. So I hope that has been enlightening in some way. And if you need if you have any other questions about my spines, let me know. So thank you so much for watching today, and we'll be speaking very soon. Bye bye.